Join me today as we talk about Trump's interview on Meet the Press this morning. I think it worked well. It wasn't as adversarial as the last interview that he did. Tariffs, I believe they're going to start working. Trump's cabinet, they all really get along, and the bench is extremely deep for the Republican Party in 2028. And who are really the leaders of the Democrat Party that are going to be running for 2028 that are quality candidates? That's a big question. Stick around. You just might learn something. Welcome to the Eric T. Conversation. I'm Eric T. Trump was on Meet the Press today, and it was a really good interview. And one of the questions that she had asked was, your website are selling Trump 2028 hats. And asked, are you planning on trying to run again in 2028? He made it very clear. I have no intentions of doing that. I don't think I can do that. I don't think that's in the Constitution somewhere. He kind of walked around answering it directly. But he did ultimately say, I want to do a really good job in 4 years. I think we can do the job well in 4 years and then pass it on to somebody else, hopefully a really great Republican, to take over the policies that we've implemented these years. So he's not running in 2028, people. It's a troll. Everybody knows it's a troll. He's just not going to say flat out, no, I am not running in 2028, because it keeps his name out there. And he's not going to tell you that, because he knows damn well in the Constitution, you can only run 2 terms. However you try to slice it and dice it, you get 2 terms. That's it. But he's going to do what he has to do to get his policies implemented in these 4 years. And he believes he can get it done in that time period. And the Republican bench is very deep. They've got a lot of great Republicans. There's some of them that I'm really not too keen on, but they are really good individuals regardless. I think right now we've got J.D. Vance is leading the pack. Marco Rubio, he's come a long way from 2016. And even prior to that, when he first got into the Senate, he got a real big ding when he had his amnesty bill come out. And, he was new to the Senate and he kind of got caught up with I think he got a little manipulated at the beginning of his tenure in the Senate. He's come a long way. I think he is probably one of the best, if not the best, at the beginning right now, Secretary of State we've ever had. He's done a phenomenal job. He's extremely smart and intelligent. He's very articulate, and he can hold his own in any setting with any foreign leader. It's been proven time and time again in just a short 100-day window. So I think he's actually a forefront, in my opinion, for me, in 2028. That's what I think. I think he's going to be running in 2028 for sure. J.D. Vance obviously is going to be running in 2028 as long as he doesn't screw anything up. And he's done a phenomenal job too. He's very articulate as well. He's very smart. He's done a really good job meeting foreign leaders as well. And they're all get along extremely well, which is really nice to see. You don't see that in any other administration. I've never seen that in any administration where their whole team collectively enjoys being around each other. And they all get along famously. You can watch at these cabinet meetings that he's televising all the time. And I'm seeing more of this openness with the Trump administration because that's what American people want. We want to see what's going on and take a peek behind the curtain and have it out there in the forefront. But they all really get along, every single one of them. There really isn't any animosity between any of them outwards that we can see. So the bench for the Republican Party is extremely deep. The Democrats, on the other hand, I think they've got some soul searching to do. They're still pounding on the illegals. They still put all their eggs in the basket for Alejo Garcia, calling him the Maryland man when he actually is an MS-13 gang member. It's already been proven by a judge, and it was upheld in appeal that the guy is an MS-13 gang member. He's an El Salvador citizen, but they're hooking their wagon onto that. They're hooking it. Then they got Congresswoman Crockett out there. She just sounds like a total imbecile. It's embarrassing for me to watch the Republican Party hook on to these individuals, and they prop them up. They do it on purpose. They put them out in the forefront for the American people to look at them thinking, okay, we obviously need to go a little younger. because that's what Americans are looking for. Look at Trump's cabinet. They're all 50, 55 and under. The majority of them are like in their 40s. Hegseth, Patel, Rubio is my age. I think he's like 53, 55 years old. I think Pam Bondi is probably one of the older ones. She's 60. RFK Jr., obviously, he's 74 or something like that years old. But other than those individuals, and Bassett, Secretary of Treasury, they're all relatively young as far as Washington is concerned. So I think the Democratic Party is starting to realize we need to start going younger. And the ones that they have that are younger are really radical. AOC is really radical. You can't do anything with Bernie Sanders, even though he's still sharp. He still articulates what he wants to say. He's still saying the same message he's been saying from day one. Guy's almost 90. He's not going to run again. He's too old. Nobody wants a 90-year-old. By the time he runs again, he'll be almost like 91 if he's still alive by then. But the Democratic Party is hooking their wagons onto these individuals that are really radical. You have Ilhan Omar talking in an interview she had the other day, saying that the white man needs to be investigated. We need to be on a watch list. It's insane that these individuals, not even born citizen, has allies and ties to another foreign country. She's Somalian. And that's really her belief system, is for the Somalian people, where in the state that she's from. I think Minnesota. That's where her allegiance lies. She doesn't give a shit about the American dream. She doesn't care about the American citizen. She cares about her Somalian population in her state and around the country. That's her priority. And I find that very skewed, that we have people in Congress that aren't 100% on board with America. How is that possible? I know how it's possible. They get people and they import them to certain areas of the country. That's what they do. It's by design. Okay. This is my opinion, but this is by design. They put these people in certain areas in the country and they take over city councils, they take over school boards, they take over their state representatives areas in those districts. They get a congressional representative from their district, and that's how they start growing their base. Elon Musk just came out and tweeted the other day again that the birth rates are crashing. Nobody's having children anymore. They're just not. I said before, I have 5 children. None of them, they're all in their 20s and 30s. None of them had any children yet. So the birth rate for the United States has gone drastically down. And what's going to happen is, the next 30, 40 years, the born Americans are going to be way lower than the people that have been coming here from foreign countries. And they're going to be able to manipulate the system. And then you're going to see our country drastically start changing. If that doesn't get fixed, and it needs to get fixed very quickly. I think the number is like 2.5 children per household that we need in America to sustain that natural birth citizenship in our country and have really, really American citizens being born in this country. 2.5. I don't know how you slice it 2.5, but that's how it averages out. We need to start looking into that a little bit more and start realizing, why aren't we having children anymore? Are the younger generations are too concerned about making it an industry, getting their careers going? People don't want to get married anymore because the outcry or the problems that arise when marriages, because 50% of them end in divorce. People don't want to go through that. It really sucks for the man that decides to get divorced. He's got to pay all this money. That's how it works. In America, when you get divorced now, the guy's paying all the money to take care of the ex-wife and the children and all that. Kids, great. I understand that. And they typically don't even get to see their kids. What, every other weekend maybe, and then on a Wednesday? The whole marriage thing is really sour for these generations. And then they go online and they see people preaching, you don't need to get married. You shouldn't get married. It just sucks for a guy to get married. He gets taken advantage of. He falls in love. And if the woman falls out of love with him, he has to want to pain her for the rest of his life. That's really deterring a lot of young men to looking into getting married. And when you don't get married, typically, kind of how it used to work, that's when you'd have children. And if you're not getting married, you're not having children. Sure, you can get a bunch of them out of wedlock and stuff. You could be like Elon Musk and just have kids everywhere. But remember, his first wife, he has 6 kids from this first wife. Or he's like an NBA basketball player that have kids wherever, or Nick Cannon. But the facts are these. Men are not getting married to women anymore because they are afraid of what can happen if that relationship doesn't work out. And if they're not getting married, they're not having children because they know how bad that is, having a child out of wedlock, a woman you're not married to. You want to having that hung around your neck for 18 years, and God forbid it's a bad relationship. What's happening is you're getting these people that are getting into Congress that aren't Americans. They don't love America. They weren't born here, raised here for generations. They're not proud to be here, which is shocking to me. How do you come to this country and not want to be submerged in the American culture? You know, we are a Christian nation. It was based on Christian principles, not any other religion, Christian principles. Now, everybody came here because of religious freedom. That was a big reason why they discovered the new land. But we need to start figuring out how to start focusing back on the real reason what America was great. And it was great, and it was a melting pot. But people came here and they assimilated to the American dream. Everybody did. That's how it worked for a couple hundred years. We got a lot of black eyes. We had slavery. We had every country had that as well. But this is the best place to live in the world. So we need to start figuring out what we need to do to try to get things back on track. And I think Trump's doing a good thing with that. He's focusing on his policies to make things better for everybody else, hopefully make it more affordable. He came out with an incentive. I don't know if it really gets any traction, but offering $5,000 to women if they're having children. I think that's a pretty cool incentive. They need to stop with the old tax credit stuff. Give them $5,000 cash OLA, and you'll start seeing the birth rates go freaking through the roof. Believe it or not, people want $5,000. Don't have babies for five. People have babies for no money. Now we're offering $5,000 for women to have children in the United States. But eventually, in the next 35 to 40 years, things are going to be dramatically different. And if I ever have any grandchildren, they're going to have a hard time in this country because they're going to be outnumbered significantly by people that want to come here, not assimilate, bring their cultures to this country and make this country like theirs, which that just blows my mind. Like, why would you come here where you had everything you wanted where you lived? Why? You had it all there, but you want to come here. Well, that's the plan though, isn't it? That's the plan all along. To come here, infiltrate the United States, grow that, and then push us out. So we need to start paying attention to that, start getting our act together, America, because if we don't, you got to make sure you vote for these right people that come in the midterm elections, because things are going to be changing dramatically and very, very quickly. And some other things Trump was saying in an interview is that the tariffs are working. And I said this on my last show. The whole idea of tariffs is to incentivize people to manufacture here in the United States. That's extremely important. Manufacturing, jobs, growth, exporting out instead of importing everything in. And that's the whole idea of increasing the tariffs to get people to start manufacturing here in the United States. Because remember, if you make it here in the United States, you have zero tariffs on any products. None. So sure, I get it. Things are going to cost a little bit more money to make here in the United States because you got to pay a minimum wage and all those other fees that come into having employees work at your business. But you're not paying any tariffs. And eventually, I believe once we start manufacturing back in the United States significantly, I think the price of those products that we're buying are going to go down because the cost of manufacturing is going to go down because it's what we do here. We're not importing anything. I'm no economist. That's just what my gut tells me. Bringing stuff in from other countries, it may be really cheap, but is it really quality products? You know they're not. They're not all high quality. Some may be, but most are not high quality. They're cheaply made for very little cost, and you get something you might have to replace in a couple of years. Hopefully, when America starts manufacturing again to the level that we used to manufacture, we start having quality products made right here in this country, and those costs of those products will hopefully go down in that process. That's it today. Join me next time for a little chit chat, some observation, and a good old-fashioned conversation. Thanks.